Ray, let's read Umineko no Naku Koro ni. Yay! Oh my god, I can't believe it, we're at the climax, oh my god! Then we can read the tea party and the question mark tomorrow. Oh my god, I'm so excited! Oh my god, oh my god! Oh my god, oh my god! It's the pain train though. Amakusa, could you turn that off? Whoops, my bad. You don't like Mzaki? I'm just not in the mood. Amakusa turned off the radio. The world of cheery sounds was immediately swallowed up by the roar of the sea, and blotted out by the ocean's gray. Can you see it? Over there's the... hi! Is that... It's been a while, so I need a reminder of who it is. Anyway, can you see it? Over there's where the harbor was at the time. The boat captain pointed, but I couldn't really recall that scene of 12 years ago. I thought I'd surely be able to immediately remember how things had been at the time, but no memories came back to me. After that incident, the island was sealed off and left to the wild. I couldn't satisfy myself with the thought that this was just inevitable. Oh, yeah! Okay, got it. Yeah, just making sure. Hold on, I'm hearing a cricket. Okay, it's not catching on the mic. Okay, yeah, I remember. Alright, just making sure. Okay. After that incident, the island was sealed off and left to the wild. I couldn't satisfy myself with just the thought that this was inevitable, and it felt sad and painful for some reason. But I at least remember one thing. You might say it's probably be the same anywhere on the sea, but I remember at least one thing. The cries of the seagulls. I do remember those. When I was young, I rarely went to the ocean, so everything that symbolized the ocean meant Rokenjima and a family gathering to me. In short, it was a symbol for the happiness of going out with my family. However, at this point in time, it seems doubtful whether that was even happiness. In my younger days, the trip had felt like a relaxed family vacation, but considering my parents' situation at the time, it was surely a very difficult trip to handle, with the distribution of the inheritance filling the place with the smell of gunpowder. I can remember giggling all over the place, completely ignorant of my parents' feelings. Rokenjima, huh? The place of all the beginnings and the end of the line for all journeys. Amakusa, in an attempt to speak for my innermost feelings, tried to sound cool. The boat slowly rounded the island. I hoped that viewing it at a different angle might bring back my memories of the island's silhouette at the time, just a little, but in the end, even when that inlet was hidden completely by cliffs, I wasn't able to remember anything. Captain, please tell me about that other harbor you mentioned. Sure, Rokenjima supposedly only has one harbor, but that's only for public appearances. On the back of the island, there's another hidden harbor. Like Rokenjima itself. It has a second face, which no one knows about. Rokenjima is an island owned by the Ushiromiya family, but it has another face, as an island owned by Kinzo personally. So, this island has 2 harbors and 2 mansions. You sure spent a lot just to keep a mistress. Who knew about this other harbor? Very few. Kinzo, the butler, Genji, those of us involved with the boats, and a very small number of the oldest servants. Both previous owners of the Nanjo Clinic and that Kumasawa Basa knew. Naming them like this, it sounded like there were quite a few, but basically there was a small number of people who knew. Please, tell me about the other mansion. I was only told that there was a mansion called Kuwadorian. Since I wasn't allowed to leave the boat, I never saw it, not even once. So it was far enough away that you couldn't see it from the harbor. I don't know, but it was a hidden mansion after all. It was probably built where you couldn't see it from the outside. Anyway, Kuwadorian was the biggest secret of that island. There's a theory that Beatrice lived in Kuwadorian or else was confined there. What do you think, Captain? I did sometimes carry in miscellaneous goods to Kuwadorian, and that included a lot of stuff that only women would use, and expensive stuff like that. I'm also convinced that theory is true. So does that mean you never saw Beatrice directly, Captain? Nope. Came and went about for 20 years and never saw her once. 20 years? That means she's at least 20 plus. Looks like she wasn't some mademoiselle. But one day, bang! All coming and going to from Kuwadorian suddenly stopped. That was about 30 years ago. So around Showa 43, 1968, I think. Bang, you mean suddenly? We came to the hidden side on the set schedule to carry food and trash back and forth. Ah, right, the hidden side, that's what we call the harbor link to Kuwadorian. I get it. So then? One day we got an urgent message from Genji. He said that until we heard differently, there was no need for us to go to the hidden side anymore. And did you hear differently? Not really. Long story short, one day I was suddenly told that they wouldn't need regular service in the hidden side anymore. And that I didn't have to take the food there either. At first I thought I was being fired, but I quickly figured it out. Going by the reactions of the servants who knew of Kuwadorian, I managed to guess somehow. Beatrice died, and there was no longer any need to take food or people to care for her. That's what I think. From that point on, I was never told to take a boat to the hidden side. However, after that, Genji came to see me face to face and got pushy, strongly urging me never to speak of anything related to the hidden side until I died. So if that hidden mansion was abandoned for 20 whole years, why was Aunt Ava there? On that day 12 years ago, Ushiromiya Ava somehow escaped harm alone in a hidden mansion 2 kilometers away from the mansion. Why was she in a hidden mansion that had been forgotten for 20 years? I saw in the talk shows, even I don't have a clue what happened. Not once did I guide Ava to the hidden side. I have no idea how or why she knew about or reached Kuwadorian. I wonder if it's possible to reach this hidden Kuwadorian by land. If, as we heard, the forest was dead and uncultivated, I seriously doubt a well-dressed lady person be able to bush crash it. So, what about the sea? Maybe there was a motorboat or something. Are you kidding? That 2-nighter typhoon was awful. No way you could have used a boat. So what if there was an underground passage or something between the mansion and Kuwadorian? Wouldn't it have been a pain to have a charter boat each time you wanted to visit this mistress' house? You mean a tunnel long enough to connect mansions on opposite sides of a 2-kilometer island like Rokenjima? Well, I'd like to laugh at the thought, but this rich guy made a whole hidden mansion for his mistress. Guess I can't deny the possibility. What do you think, Captain? I'm a man of the sea. I don't know about holes. But the Japanese military dug a 25-kilometer tunnel on Iwo Jima. Wouldn't surprise me if that Kinzo could at least dig 2 kilometers. There really is something wrong with this island. Even now, not one of us really knows a thing about it. The boat reached the shore. They would have to take a short ways to reach the mansion. I'll wait here. The mansion's that way. The path from the back then's probably still there, but I bet it's covered with plants. Make sure you don't get lost. Right, let's go. Thanks for everything, Amakusa. You wait here too. Well, I had a feeling you'd say that. I'm just delivering something. It'll be troublesome for them if you come too. I imagine your toxin is strong. Toxin? Oh. I'll be back soon. Today our main goal is Kuwadorian. After I deliver this, I'll come right back. And she put on her knapsack, holding the flowers she would offer. Give her some space, young'un. See you soon, little lady. Your family's waiting for you. I'd never been on a road like this, but I had no trouble finding my way. If I walked straight ahead, it would probably guide me to the final destination for everything. It's true that vegetation was incredibly thick, and if I didn't pay attention, I would lose track of the path. But that road that was left was much clearer than I guessed it would be. Still, that didn't change the fact that it was a bad road. Contrary to the distance shown on the map, I was forced to walk a long way. The forest was deep and dark. At the time, I'd been threatened into staying away from the forest because a witch lived there. Of course, that fear is gone now, but I feel it. Because I was me. I could feel the presence like an aura of the golden witch Beatrice. Here and there were massive fallen lumps of rock along with the overgrown trees and ivy, and the voices of birds and bugs. Yeah, I feel it. I feel that the witch is here. Ahead, an ivy-covered construction site fence and a warning sign stood. No entry, Tokyo Metropolis. That was written on it. Yeah, that's right. When you think about Tokyo, you tend to think of a city. But Rokkenjima is also located within the Tokyo Metropolis. Apologizing to the sign for my rude mistake, I climbed the fence. When I crossed the steep slope beyond that, my field of vision rapidly expanded, and a fresh sea breeze blew through my hair. It was like the top of a little hill. Below me was a vast view of the island. I could only see desolated forest and rock walls spread out below me, but I realized the mansion was probably somewhere around there. The steep downward slope beyond this hill had probably been caused by earth and rocks collapsing from 12 years of wind and rain. It had become a slant filled with crags you might even call gentle cliffs. It would be easy to tumble down, though it looked like climbing back would be pretty difficult. In any event, it seemed that proceeding any further would be impossible. If I continued any further, I wouldn't be able to return. In other words, this is the border. Also, something about it, the game kind of dodges exactly what Angie is seeing for a reason. Anyway, this place is 1986 and 1998, and it's that day and today, the boundary between this world and Nirvana. This spot is this journey's final destination, it seems. As the strong winds blew Mamoon and Sakutaro's hair, they looked down the hilltop. From here, I can't really tell. Where's the mansion? Let's get closer.
Uryu, that's impossible. We won't be able to come back.
We won't be able to come back. Is that it? I see. This is 1998. And I am the Ushiromiya Angie who has been left all alone. At first, this was a journey to die, but not anymore. It's become a journey to accomplish something. Yeah, so I'm sorry, you two. Although I wish back then I was on that day, I could have gone down that cliff without any hesitation. Come on, this is pretty lame for a skyscraper jumping Ushiromiya Angie. Sorry.
This place is as good as any. After all, you can feel the wind of that day.
Was the wind really like this?
Yeah, very soon they will come. Everyone.
Sakutaro said it as though it was completely natural, and I believed it. Dad, Mom, Oni-chan, all my relatives and those fun servants, and Maria. It's me. It's Angie. I've come back. When I started my journey to expose the past of 12 years ago, my goal had been abstract and I hadn't understood. But now, I have no doubts. This journey was induced by several thoughts and fates over 12 years. A journey to reach an end for me, Ushiromiya Angie, and a journey to reach an end as the last witch of Mariage Sorciere. I came here as the last daughter of the Ushiromiya family, and as the last witch. Dad, Mom, Oni-chan, sorry. Let me greet Maria first. A strong tailwind urged me on. That tailwind took just my soul out from inside my body to the vast forest beneath me. And though from here I couldn't see, I believe that it flew to me on the mansion on that day, to where everyone was, to where Maria was. And so, even though my body was on top of a hill, a strong wind blowing against me, my soul was now certainly dancing through the sky. The vast, vast sky of Rokkenjima. Below me was the green of many trees, but I understand. I can comprehend the presences of my family and relatives, and all the servants, and Maria too. I could even comprehend Maria as a witch. It was vast, more so than any vast space I had imagined up until now. Maria, can you hear me? Listen! Angie called out to the Maria of that day. She told her of the long journey she'd undergone, of her long-delayed realization of just how much she wounded Maria in her youth. She understood magic, and now understood everything about the world Maria had wanted to show her. It was very warm, overflowing with love and happiness. She wanted to become even happier by sharing that world, but I trampled it. So now I finally understand everything. I understand magic! Our magic is surely very faint and fills the space beside us, but it isn't something that anyone can see with their eyes. Magic is... yes, I can say it clearly. Without love, it cannot be seen. Sorry, One-chan. I've already been excommunicated from the Alliance of Witches, but now I understand how wonderful it is. And I know that after the day I wounded you, Mariachi Sorciere was transfigured into something different from what you truly desired. Even the magic that spout anger by cursing people was probably important to One-chan in those days. One-chan's environment was sad enough to permit that. But now, those sad days are over, so let's return One-chan's Alliance of Witches back to the original Mariachi Sorciere. The grimoire was in my hands before I realized it. The strong woods were rapidly blowing its pages one after another. That world had been kind in the beginning. How could you give birth to magic that would make candy fall from the sky? How could you give birth to magic that would make tomorrow's dinner cream croquette? How could you give birth to magic that would make the weather good when you went out the next day, making your whole day fun? New spells of happiness were created one after another, coloring her world with kindness. Those days were flipped through one after another, and months began to flash by. The pages with drawings that had once been colorful gradually began to change to the color of black ink. Eerie magic circles and demon summonings. Evil magic for harming people. How could you give birth to magic that would cause the class bully to catch a cold? How could you give birth to magic that would seriously injure someone in class so that they died? How could you give birth to magic that would cause a bus loaded with all the bullies to fall off a cliff? Malicious spells were created one after another, burying the pages and her heart. Because I hurt One-chan, Mariachi Sorciere ended up like this. One-chan isn't a black evil witch. She was a white, pure, innocent, kind witch. I'll return it to how it was. I'll bring back the original Maria. The one who scattered magic to make people happy across the entire world. That's the reason I came here. I was guided by fate. Maria, can you hear me? Show yourself before me! That voice rode an even stronger wind and was sent 12 years into the past. Then, the wind gradually ceased, and silence fell. Here's the bitch moment. Ugh, sorry, I'm gonna get kind of foul mouth because I can't stand this character. Okay. I could hear the sound of gravel being stepped on. I listened to those footsteps, surprised at this miracle. Without a doubt, those were Maria's footsteps. Maria! It's Kasumi. Looks like I finally found you, eh, Angie? Ugh. Before I knew it, Aunt Kasumi and her black suits, a total of 7 people who didn't resemble Maria in the slightest, were standing there surrounding me. It felt like my voice had just been about to reach Maria, too. Because of these guys' toxin, that magic was cut off. And she clicked her tongue at that, but Kasumi probably didn't hear it that way. Are those flowers for your deceased family? How admirable. You're going to throw them right. Go ahead. We'll wait that long. Bullshit! Just what are you waiting for? But Angie could more or less guess. The way the black suits unnaturally stuck their hands into their pockets clearly brought to mind the likelihood that they had handguns. This is a deserted island. There could be no more convenient place to dispose of someone. I have absolutely no interest in the family matters of the Sumadera family, but if I die, all that wealth will go to them. Unlike me, they're probably very interested and concerned about this matter. Of course, it seems that the massive amounts of stock I own suddenly go to them. It'll be pretty bad for the Ushinomiya group as well. And they're apparently having a secret feud, fighting over me all by themselves. That's probably why President Okanogi gave me Amakusa as a guard. Having Amakusa wait on the boat was a regrettable mistake. Aunt Kasumi, how long have you been waiting for this ambush? Since early morning. Thanks to that, I'm completely tired of waiting. After all, there are no cafes or dressing rooms here. No toilets either, so I guess you had to elegantly drop a load behind a tree. A lady with half Sumadera blood flowing through her veins will not use such filthy words. You really are Sumadera Kyrie's child, not a trace of grace. She grabbed me by the hair and forced my face up to hers, and then spat at me. Hold on. You know what? Yeah, I'll just let the cricket go, because I don't care about Kasumi. My words might be filthy, but they're no worse than her spit. Every time you talk to me, Aunt Kasumi, it's always about Mom. Am I really that much like my mother? Yes, you are. That impertinent gaze. Your mouth and nose are the same too. Freewheeling and irresponsible. You thought nothing of the long history and tradition of the Sumadera family and selfishly flew out of the house. Thanks to that, my entire life is devoted to cleaning up your mess. Guess your life really has been covered with crap. When I was slapped on my cheek, my ear was smashed. For an instant, my head rang. My hair was pulled, spinning me around, and I fell to the ground. And in a flash, the ground was kicked, and I was struck with sand. Yes, you truly are like Nei-san. That gaze like you're mocking me somehow. Yes, I remember so many things. You're a sad person. I bet that since you were young, you always got compared to Mom and scorned. And for your entire life, you'll never be released from that wretchedness. A little girl like you couldn't possibly understand. You see your mother as a loser who threw everything away and ran away from the Sumadera family, right? Do you know how much trouble I went through because of that loser? Any trouble you went through has nothing to do with me. Sorry, but what am I supposed to do about something that happened before I was born? When will your life begin? It never will. For all eternity, you'll always continue to be sneered at by my dead mother until you die. If only you just die. Why are you living? You little piss! You all! Make her some tea! Leave it to us. You big-mouthed shitty brat. Let us teach you a little lesson. The black suits dashed up to me, violently grabbed me by the nape of the neck, and dragged me down. Do whatever you want to her until my break is over. Teach my cute niece her place. As you can see, I care very little. Sumadera Kasumi. When I think about it, she was a pitiable person. To the outside world, women of the Sumadera family were trained to be in a position that supported and deferred to men. But in actuality, strong leadership was required from them, so that they could manage all the common people. The role demanded of them was really that of a female commander, like a literal reading of the word Okami. Managing the Sumadera family with all its traditions was not something that could be accomplished with just an ordinary level of dignity. It was an unimaginably heavy responsibility. Normally, this would have been demanded of Kyrie. Kyrie had undergone that harsh training, and Kasumi, as the younger sister, should have been able to take it easy. No, on the contrary, she lived like a lazy, selfish, and affluent princess, sneering at Kyrie, who had been given the heavy responsibility. However, Kyrie had suddenly been disinherited. She had refused the fiancé her parents had arranged and had gotten pregnant by her lover Ushinomiya Rudolph. From the Sumadera's perspective, even though the Ushinomiya family held a vast fortune, it was a low-level family that had already collapsed, and to become not even a legal wife, but a mistress to a second son of that family. Normally, the daughter of the main family would be shown no mercy for such dishonor. They'd wrap her up in a mat, place a pole on the end, and throw her either into the Pacific Ocean if the pole fell into the right, or the Sea of Japan if it fell to the left. But Kyrie's punishment ended with disinheritance, and an unbelievably one-harmed decision. After that, the Sumadera family began receiving favorable treatment from the section of the Ushinomiya group. There must have been some kind of backroom deal. In other words, Kyrie openly left the Sumadera family under the pretense of gaining financial support from the Ushinomiya family. Kasumi had watched it happen in shock. No, she even disparaged her dishonorable sister as a loser. But eventually, she realized that heavy responsibilities Kyrie had borne would be passed on to her, and then for the first time, she saw that she had been outwitted. Because of your mother, my life was ruined. No, you could even say she killed me once. On that day, I was killed once and thrown into a hellish life. Isn't that what you get for making light of life until then? Don't you ever stop talking, girl! The black suit punched me in the gut and I doubled over, but I was quickly grabbed by the nape of the neck and made to stand up again. Kasumi wholeheartedly looked down at me, smoking a cigarette. The painful days after Kyrie had left were floating through her mind. Until then, she had been allowed to be a simple lady, free-willing and naive. Only the older sister, Kyrie, had been harshly trained, and she, the younger sister, had been able to live as nothing more than a princess. Then suddenly, everything got flipped over, and her life came crashing down. My life, lifestyle, the way I live were all stolen from me. Do you know how much I was derided by those relatives who didn't know the details, all because of my sister's dishonor? I detested her. I detested your mother enough to make me spit blood. Glad to hear it. Keep up the good work. A kick landed in Angie's side as she crawled to the ground. Angie didn't stand up again, so she continued to lie there like a caterpillar as she was kicked each time she spoke up. I saw Neisan at the Ushinomiya group party once. She was with her husband, looking very happy and laughing. She pushed everything onto me and found happiness only for herself. So what? How is taking it on me gonna make you happy? Will taking it on me turn back time and change history or something? You said something short a while ago. When will my life start? No matter how much I despise you or take out my frustrations on you, I can't turn back time, so I must keep hating my sister, even though she's gone until I die? You've got to be kidding me. How long will I have to be tormented by my sister's ghost? So I thought of something. If I could accomplish one thing, I'd be able to forget all my hatred and start over. Angie was about to lash back at her, but stopped, because she'd be kicked again if she responded. Even if Kasumi didn't say anymore, Angie had a pretty good idea what she meant. Kasumi thought by taking revenge against Kirei's daughter, Angie, she'd be able to put an end to her hatred. Talk about pushing your problems onto other people. Come on, stand up! If you like this island that much, I'll bury you deep in it! You don't want to die your age, right? Don't you feel like saying, sorry my mother caused you so much trouble or something? Who'd say something like that?
Angie! Angie!
Angie, no! You mustn't provoke them! You should at least make it seem like you're going along with them so you can buy some time. They often say that. You should throw away your foolish pride. Out with the garbage.
Oh, what about Amakusa? If Amakusa comes, I'm sure...
It's no use. I can't see him. You idiot, Angie! Why didn't you leave Amakusa behind? I didn't need Mammon to tell me. I was seriously regretting it already. I walked a long way. The forest was very thick. I got no doubts a sign of inactivity here when we reached the boat. During the time it took for Kasumi to finally finish casually smoking a whole cigarette, I was continually tormented by the black suit she had told them to. The moment I grabbed at my head, my scalp was kicked by somebody at a bad angle. My head was filled with stars. The feeling of stars flickering in this gray, twisted world was one I remembered clearly. My life was very similar to the one Sumadera Kasumi led. After all, as the successor to the Ushimiya family, I was tormented constantly with various kinds of bullying, under the guise of education and training. Yes, having the inside of my head filled with stars like this is a feeling I know well. When being reprimanded for some error in manners I seem to have been made, the discussion always turned to whether I was fitting to be the successor or not. On and on about the honor of the Ushimiya family and how deep that was. By the time the conversation reached that point, I'd forget what the mistake I was being blamed for in the first place. No, in fact, it was the same for Aunt Ava. After all, sometimes she'd ask herself, what was it again? But in the end, she wouldn't be able to remember, and would say something like, If I'm angry, it must be your fault, Angie. The fact that you're at fault is what matters, so who cares if I can't remember what it was that you did? There'd be some ridiculous reasoning like that, and she kept on punishing me. Yes. Aunt Ava's punishment wasn't something that would continue until I learned something or acknowledged my mistake or apologized. It would continue until Aunt Ava wanted to stop. So this violence was a bit nostalgic in a way that made me want to vomit. I opened my eyes and look, there's Aunt Ava. Right next to Kasumi, who's smoking a cigarette. I can see Aunt Ava almost as though the two of them are laughing together. When I think about it, even Aunt Ava's life might be a thing worthy of my sympathy. The responsibility and pressure of being a member of the Ushiromiya family, which she often mentioned to me, had probably caused her great pain. After all, people can't make insults that they've never been the target of themselves. It was probably the same for Aunt Rosa as well. As the youngest child of the honorable Ushiromiya family, she must have gone through many tough times. So it was like what Aunt Ava did to me, just like what Sumadera Kasumi is doing now. Aunt Rosa must have been the same. People tend to push the pain they're burdened with onto other people, otherwise they can never escape from that pain. So on, in eternity, in perpetuity. The chain of pain and sadness does not end. That's why Maria's magic was so incredible. With her magic, she didn't have to bear the pain caused by Aunt Rosa. The pain probably was pushed onto her. Its weight probably tormented her. But Onecha didn't carry that burden on her own shoulders. She purified it and filled her world with happiness. So I'm sure, if Maria had children in the future, she probably wouldn't have pushed that pain that had been forced on her onto her children. That chain of pain and sadness that stretched back for who knows how long, which she couldn't understand and which she had inherited, which had been forced onto her. Maria cut it with her magic. What's wrong? Got a bone to pick with me? In the past, I would have snapped back. I would have met her hatred with hatred, so they'd cancel each other out. No, nothing got canceled out. That thing being forced on me ended up being right there on my shoulders, just like how even now, I hate her. So now that I know of magic, I'll look at the human called Ushiromiya Ava again. What I could see through to was a sad human form, no different from me, who lost her family and who bore deep wounds in her heart. Unable to withstand the pain that tore her heart, she was doing nothing more than howling sadly like a lion crying in pain like a child. Even Ushiromiya Ava was someone I should have felt compassion for. She needed someone to understand the difficulties and pain of her childhood years. Even she, who was the only survivor of the Rokkenjima crime, who was faced with the curiosity of all of society, who was publicly slandered and forced to have salt continually flung into the wound, had needed someone's compassion. In order to let Ava forget her pain and sadness at least a little, the Black Witch taught her magic just like the times it had possessed Aunt Rosa. It was the same magic of anger and sadness that Beatrice had taught Maria when she was mourning for her torn-apart friend Sakutaro. That same magic, that witch, probably dwelled inside Aunt Rosa too. So I mustn't hate Ushiromiya Ava. Maybe I should have become her ally, as the only person in the world who could understand her. What did I say to her when I was young when she returned alive all alone? Could it be that I acted as though she killed my family and returned on her own? I can't believe it. Aunt Ava, who has never been more than an object of and a synonym for hatred throughout my life, is turning into a human I can understand. So, I can see right next to Aunt Ava the form of the Black Witch who taught her the black magic. Aunt Ava was crying. It was only natural. Not only was no one willing to understand the pain of losing her husband and son at once, but her only relative had insulted her, saying, "Give me back the dad and mom!" Oops, sorry. "Give me back my dad and mom!" I can make the excuse that I was merciless because of my youth. However, to her at the time, it'd probably been cruel enough to sever the last thread in her heart. I'll probably have to edit that because I messed up. I'm sorry. So anyway. In the following days, the talk shows and magazines publicly slandered her. The truth of her husband's business and character, even her beloved son, were negated. She no longer had anything left. She could do nothing but cry and howl, trying to forget the pain and sadness, at least for a while. After all, she could only feel a tiny bit of release, and only during that time that she howled. And so the Black Witch taught her how to howl. The one I hated was the Black Witch. Black magic can probably release one from pain for an instant. However, it never lifts that weight from a person's shoulders. On the contrary, it forces that weight onto further victims, filling the world with hatred. If only Aunt Ava knew of white magic and had a true witch nearby. Shouldn't that have been me? Didn't I learn the magic to create happiness from Maria? If I taught her with that magic, could we have built a future with a completely different relationship? Up until now, I've hated Aunt Ava constantly. I didn't notice the Black Witch beside her. Without love, it could not be seen. I didn't have any love for her. So now finally, I'll glare at that Black Witch. The one I truly should hate.
Oh, what's this? You can see me?
I see you. The one I should have hated wasn't Aunt Ava. It's you.
Whoa, awesome! To think that how lowly human could see a witch like me. So, are you trying to say something with that glare? Do you hate me?
Hate. Yes, I do. But that's not quite it. I just think you're sad.
Sad? What are you saying? Come on, go ahead. Why not hate me as much as you want?
I won't hate. Hating you means I'm doing nothing more than inheriting Aunt Ava's hatred. I'll put a stop to hatred. I'll accept Aunt Ava's pain, purify it, and throw it away.
What kind of epiphany do you think you've had? Is your head alright? Seriously, if only you just give up and die. You guys, kick her more and more, okay? Not her face, though. 'Cause it'd be boring if her pitiful face got any better.
The black suits persistently kick my stomach and back, as though they'd been ordered to by the Black Witch. My, are you still not suffering after all that? You keep staring right at me. Do you hate me? I bet you do. Same here. Kasumi sneered at me, but for some reason I had the feeling she was crying behind that expression. Just like me, the pain of being forced into an unreasonable life would never ever heal. The sad lion gasping in pain from a thorn he can't get out continues to howl.
Hey, Sumadera Kasumi, take a look. Over there, it's you as you used to be. Don't you feel better now? You used to be standing there, but now you're on this side, right? Isn't that great? Don't you like having the roles switched?
Yes, it literally is. Great. How can you make that kind of face, Angie? Go on and cry. You want to, right?
Yes, of course she wants to cry. Make her cry. Didn't someone make you cry back then? So make her cry too. You too, Angie. If only you just break down and cry.
Cry, Angie. I want to see your crying face. Cry and try saying, I'm sorry, Aunt Kasumi.
Yes, make her say those words. Aren't those words painful? Isn't it being made to apologize for something that isn't your fault just the worst pain? Make her feel the same way. By doing that, you can relieve your pain. Yeah, that's it. Be a little more honest with yourself, okay? If only you just let your emotions run free more and more and more!
The Black Witch provoked Kasumi, and Kasumi began to give herself over to that dark emotion. by turning deep sadness into an evil alcohol and forcing it down, trying to forget it for just an instant. Nothing would change. The words Kasumi insulted me with were themselves sad. And I couldn't forgive the Black Witch who had imposed that sadness on Kasumi. I'd gone limp, which seemed to have stopped the black suit's kicking competition. Or maybe the kickers were getting tired too. Kasumi didn't order them to stop, but at some point they did. However, I was reflected in Kasumi's eyes. They burned me with flames of hatred. She had been tempted by the witch to do that in order to relieve her own pain.
Sumadera Kasumi, you aren't done yet. You've got much more trampling to do, right? Can you forgive what happened to your entire life with just a little violence?
I can't! I still can't forgive her with just this!
Right? There's no way you can forgive her! Do it more! More of the flames of hatred! Nothing can warm you except the fires of hate! After being frozen in the snowfields of anger and sadness, the only flame that can warm you is hatred! Say it, okay? Scream it! If only you just burn yourself to ashes with a roar of hate!
Ushironia Angie! I cannot live without hating you!
Sumadera Kasumi, look at that bundle of flowers. These flowers are for your dead family, right, Angie?
The Black Witch grinned at me unpleasantly, using her chin to signal Kasumi to pick it up. Kasumi picked up the flowers I was going to offer, brought them all the way over to me, dropped them, and made a show of trampling them. Her expression was filled with hatred, and a frantic quality that couldn't be explained with hatred alone. She trampled them over and over, as though her sadness was reaching the bursting point, so the sound of her trampling it was just sad.
Oh, still not suffering yet? Then what about this? Sumadera Kasumi, use this.
No, not that! Oh, here's the fuck you moment. The object the Black Witch pointed at was Maria's grimoire. Fuck you for touching her grimoire! Kasumi also noticed it and picked up that book, which was heavier than it looked. I know it's important to end generational trauma, but this is a fuck you moment of Kasumi I cannot forgive.
What's this? Why not read it? You might fall over laughing, okay?
Kasumi opened the grimoire, skimmed over the contents, and snorted derisively. Give it back. That's Oni-chan's. Of course, my hand couldn't reach. My stomach was once again kicked by the black suits, and I doubled over.
See? This book's really important to Angie, right? Gotta belittle the things that are important to her, okay? That'll work better than punching or kicking for a girl like her. You know that better than anyone, don't you?
As though remembering something painful, Kasumi's face twisted for an instant, but that quickly disappeared, changing into a scornful smile directed at me.
Oh, what a creepy book. Did you write this?
Stop it! Give it back!
Look at that face! Belittle it more! Belittle it more! Teach her the pain of having your dignity trampled. That's the only way to soften your own pain. What is with this embarrassing book? I'll admit I did have a little interest in fortune-telling as a girl. But isn't this going a bit too far? Magic? Ew. You're one of those, aren't you? It's like one of those cartoons where a girl that says, something, something spell and transforms into a witch, right? You like those, don't you? How pathetic.
Fuck off. Cackling, Kasumi opened to the random page and showed it to the black suits. The black suits looked at it and guffawed as well. Yes, men, losers. That sneer didn't wound me, but I couldn't forgive it. After all, that sneer was ridiculing Maria. I don't hate Kasumi, but forcing that unhealing anger and sadness on Kasumi, I cannot forgive the Black Witch. That Black Witch ate into Aunt Ava, Sumadera Kasumi, and Aunt Rosa, tormenting them for an eternity without letting their wounds be healed. I can't forgive her, can't forgive the Black Witch.
Wow, this is just great! Magic for making candy fall from the sky, you say? What's this? Sprinkle water cleansed by the sun with sugar. Stick the magic staff in with an incantation. What the hell? It hurts!
The black suits were also rolling around, guffawing. Then, grinning, the Black Witch whispered something into Kasumi's ear. After glaring at me with a grin, Kasumi took that page. Kasumi grabbed hold of that page, tore it off, and crumpled it up and threw it away.
So cruel! That was Maria's magic! Oh, really? How sad.
Fuck off. It was one of the spells to summon happiness that Maria had made with Sakutaro. Anyone knows that making sugar water, coloring it, and leaving it by the window isn't going to make candy fall from the sky. But after repeating that every day, one time on her way home from school, she had found several pieces of candy scattered around. How happy must that miracle have made Maria? Didn't she treasure that candy, eating it together her night alone with Sakutaro to distract herself from her loneliness? That magic that One-chan had given birth to had been torn and thrown away and had disappeared. The whole miracle of happiness that magic had given birth to had been torn and thrown away.
Oh, this part's great too! Magic to make tonight's dinner cream croquette! What's next? Magic to make bell peppers taste good! That's not bad either! So stupid! Tear that too! If only you just tear it more and more!
With a brutal loud laugh, the Black Witch made Maria's spells get torn out one after another. Magic of happiness was sneered at and torn, thrown away. Yeah, fuck you.
Stop it! Stop it! Don't defile Lady Maria's magic! Don't defile it with your filthy toxin!
Mammon cried and yelled, but she had no way of reaching Kasumi.
Come on! Why not defile it? Miracles of magic. Magic to bring happiness? No way! Nothing like that exists. Don't you know that you can't heal pain and sadness without pushing it on to someone else? Hey, you also had those magic friend things, right? Sumadera Kasumi, open to that page.
What's this? Magic friends? The Seven Sisters of Purgatory?
What a creepy name! It says they can fly at awesome speeds and finish off the enemy.
Angie, if you can use this kind of magic, shouldn't you use it right now?
Foolish!
The page that wrote of the Seven Sisters of Purgatory was also heartlessly torn away. The page itself was just paper. It wasn't Mammon's vessel or anything. But the tearing, denying toxin burned Mammon from the inside. Mammon's face twisted from that heat and pain.
Are you okay, Mammon? Hold on!
This much is no problem. It's not me, but Angie, who's in pain. However, Mammon's expression was twisted with an unbearable anguish and humiliation.
Stop it, Black Witch! Why are you doing something like this? Why can't you use magic for happiness? Oh, you're our magic friend too, right? I'll defile you too. Sumadera Kasumi, look for this guy's page too, okay?
What's this one? What's with this crappy scribble of a lion? Sakutaro! What a weird name. My best friend, it says. Really? This is your friend? A close friend? This lion is?
It is it? It really is a crappy scribble. This ugly lion is totally you. To think that she had something like this as a friend. That Ushiromiya Maria's kid's mind is so pathetic it's embarrassing. What a joke. She's like a moron. If only she'd just give up and die.
Fuck off! Leave the 9-year-old girl alone, motherfucker!
You don't make fun of Maria.
Stop it! Don't break it!
No way!
There was a shrill sound. The page had been filthily ripped out. The picture of Sakutaro that One-chan had drawn was violently ripped in half. Yeah, I don't give a shit about forgiveness. Screw Kasumi. I'm sorry, I don't care about her. When you make fun of little kids, that's when I get mad. And I'm a Mario Kinney, so fuck that shit. Okay.
What a crappy picture!
You all laugh too, okay? A pair of black suits laughed vulgarly and heartlessly trampled the two halves that had been torn and thrown away. Sakutaro, hang in there.
I'm not sad. I just can't stand it. I can't stand that Maria's being made fun of. And I can't do anything about it.
To humans who can't see us, it's as though we don't exist. We can only interact with humans that need us. That's why we're furniture. As Sakutaro and Mammon supported each other, they crouched down, sobbing. I couldn't stand it either. Those who can't see how wonderful the world of magic is can't understand it. You can't explain to humans who can't understand, so it gets belittled. If you could show them it, but you can't. Because in front of humans who are filled with a magic-resisting toxin and who can't understand magic, magic cannot be used. I really don't get it. From this delusional diary, I've got to assume that something's wrong with your head. It really is fun to take a peek into your mind. You creepy child.
Both you and Maria, and that stuffed animal on the furniture over there too, right?
I could laugh. You don't have any friends, do you? You don't either, loser. You're always all alone, so stuffed animals are your friends. What a pitiable child. Don't worry, I understand. I know what it's like to live that way, so I'll accept it. You really are a pitiable child, right? To you, it would probably look like something made by a pitiable child. That's right. If 100 people were to read Oni-chan's diary, 100 people would probably think that's the same thing. I used to be like that too. But you know, despite all of that, Maria summoned a world of happiness. Don't deny that magic, that happiness.
Such a stubborn child you are. Very well. This is the last one. I'll tear apart the source of the truly foolish magic that you and Maria believe in. Sumadera Kasumi, read this page, okay?
What's this colorful page? What's this? Magic 2. Always be friends with my beloved mother.
Stop it! Not that page!
This magic's really simple, isn't it? It looks like even I could do it. Even I could remember an incantation this short. Shall I give it a whirl?
It really is a short incantation, isn't it? Okay, give it a try. Let's have everyone spit it out.
With expressions that ridiculed it from the bottom of their hearts, the Black Witch and Kasumi tapered their mouths. And they said it aloud. The black suit stared blankly, asking what the hell that was supposed to be, and Kasumi answered, cackling. This is supposed to be an incantation! Are you kidding me?
Come on! Why don't you guys try it too?
The black suits imitated that moaning voice, making fun of it. That was the incantation for the magic that would always let her always be friends with her beloved mother. What the hell? How stupid! If you can make family relationships better just by saying, ooh, ooh, the world would always be peaceful.
A stupid moaning voice. Too bad if you do this over and over again, people will think you're a pathetic, stupid kid. Are you a moron? Stop it! At least don't belittle that magic!
It was the day of a picnic when Maria and Aunt Rosa were alone. It was written that one of the top 5 happiest days of her life. One-chan was singing a song she just learned from her mama. Her mother had been delighted, but partway through, Maria forgot the lyrics. But since she saw that her mother was so happy, she tried to sing until the very end, with ooh, ooh, ooh. Even though she only pretended to know the lyrics, her mother had enjoyed it a lot. After that, ooh remained an incantation to remember that day she spent in fun and happiness with her mother. Of course, even though she seemed to find it funny at first, Aunt Rosa eventually tired of hearing it. And eventually started scolding One-chan when she said it. But to One-chan, it was a memory of a fun day that she'd never forget. So among the spells that Maria had created, it was the oldest and the first. Kasumi stuck her fingernails into that page too. Stop it! Don't tear it! At least spare that page! No way! With a shrill sound, a girl's world of happiness was erased.
Is this your magic of happiness? Hilarious! Hilarious! There's no way that could be magic to make you happy, right? Magic is made out of anger and hatred, right? Happiness is what you call the feeling of release you only get when you push all the hatred you bear onto other people. The happiness you are all talking about is a fan that doesn't show up outside of picture books.
As Kasumi laughed her head off, she slammed the grimoire against the ground and stepped on it.
Can't stand it? Hey, you can't stand it, right? You white witches of happiness. If you can't stand it that much, why don't you show us? Show us your magic. If it exists, then you just have to show us, right? A witch who can't use magic isn't a witch. That's why we're the real witches. You're just brats trying to escape reality with a dream.
I can't wait. I don't care. Then, if I can show you magic, will you believe in One-chan's magic?
Huh? Yeah, sure. I'll believe. If you can use magic and show me, that is. Let's see. You stupid brat!
Silently, slowly, I stood up. Sensations of this cramped world, such as the pain of my body, felt truly trifling. Oh, looks like you still got enough energy to stand up, Miss Great Witch.
Now that you've stood up, what are you going to show us? Show us some magic.
Magic exists. What? What's this kid saying? Did you guys hear that?
Silence! Isn't that interesting? You people always refuse this power of miracles because of magic-resisting toxin. Disciple of the White Witch Maria. Let's see some magic! Do you have any clue how many humans have believed in that miracle before being betrayed? Everyone believes. Everyone is betrayed and despairs. And they learn that true magic can only be gained by the power of black witches like me.
Hitting someone with your hatred is nothing more than a sin. That isn't magic. I'll show you real magic.
You!
The Black Witch winced slightly. However, Kasumi sneered at me even more.
Then let's have a look. So what kind of magic will you show us? Magic to make candy fall from the sky! Or else magic to make cookies multiply.
What? The instant I opened my eyes, a tremendous wind arose.
What is this all of a sudden?
Come arise, the 7 sisters of purgatory.
What?
There was a flash behind me. In an instant, 7 pieces of high-level furniture were gathered there. It was a power that far surpassed the magical strength that I had in my prime. It was a power that matched even Maria and Beatrice. The 7 sisters of purgatory right here!
Angie!
You said it once, because I lacked magical power and resolve. I couldn't use you or your sisters. This isn't some cheap emotion like wanting to get back at my bullying classmates. In order to protect Maria, Mariage Sorcier's world, I now order you to show me the miracle of magic.
It's impossible! No matter what you try before such a massive toxin!
The 7 sisters also remembered what had happened in that classroom. If they could have obeyed Angie's orders, they would have. However, surrounded by the toxin that runs thick in humans, they hadn't been able to display the miracle of magic. And they remembered very well how deeply that had hurt Angie. But Angie spoke very quietly. In that case, you all believe too.
Huh?
Mariage Sorcier was created to bring people happiness, and also to fight the Black Witch. In order to show that miracle to the foolish Black Witch, who denies the world of one of the founders, the Witch of Origins Lady Maria gave birth to, and in order to protect that world. Believe in magic, in witches, in miracles right now. When Kasumi gave an order to the black suits, one of them took out a gun and pointed it at Angie.
You'll show us magic, right? Then let's have it. Use magic to shoot this man down with a fireball or lightning or something. You get 1 chance. Show us before I count to 3, got it? If you can't, then you best prepare yourself, okay?
Shoot. What's with this kid? She's lost it. The black suit pointing the gun laughed at Angie's detached attitude.
Are you serious? This girl's lost her mind. In that case, get yourself shot. If only you just die! Angie, it's impossible. You can't block bullets with magic.
No, there's nothing to be afraid of. Compared to my magic, the 7 sisters of purgatory, bullets are nothing.
Angie!
Mammon was perplexed by Angie's absolute trust. If she could comply, she would have, on that day as well. But because she had been unable to do anything, she had hurt Angie.
You brat! If you can use magic, let us have a look right now.
What's wrong? We're telling you to show us magic, right? Come on, no need to hold back, okay? Show me some magic! The black suits jeered at her, but Angie simply concentrated her mind in silence.
If only you just shoot! She's even telling you to try and shoot, you guys! This kid's already lost her mind from fear. Bye-bye, Angie. Go and pretend to be a witch as much as you want in heaven. Fire!
You sure?
Fire! Die, Angie! If you can't do it, then give this magic of yours a try!
Blacksuit cocked the gun and sneered and pulled the trigger. The sound of gunfire rang out, and the world stopped. A red spray scattered out, and chunks of flesh flew. What are you doing, Mammon? Don't tell me you'd let a boorish pebble of a bullet like this reach Angie. Lucifer lined up the bullet perfectly, with a single swing, and sliced it. And the chest of the black suit who had apparently fired the gun was as whole as big as a fist.
Every now and then, I gotta go first.
Half of Leviathan's body was covered with blood, and a cold smile was on her face. And then slowly, the pitiful prey that she had brought down fell over.
You pierced a human! Idiot! Do you still not believe in our master's magic power? Are you kidding me? You materialized in front of this many humans? What is this? What?
Kasumi and the rest were flustered. He certainly seemed to have fired his gun. However, it hadn't hit Angie. And why was the person who fired hurt instead? This is magic. Great job, Leviathan.
I'm most honored! You foolish humans who dare oppose our master! Now's the time of judgment! Prostrate yourselves! Well, why? You shouldn't be able to bring magic into the world of humans! They shouldn't be able to see magic, and they shouldn't be able to be touched by magic! Why?
Because this is true magic.
What are you people doing? Kill! Kill! Kill!
One of the black suits, who had finally come to his senses, took out his gun and readied it. Finally, the good part! Like I allowed the disrespect of pointing a gun barrel at our master! Die! Those words were a requiem. The man's chest had already been pierced by Lucifer, who had become the stake of pride in an instant. With the sound of the second person falling, the black suits now realized for certain that their lives were in peril. Save me! The instant one of the black suits doubled over in shock and turned on his heels to escape from that place, the stake of sloth. Be thankful that your violence against our master will be repaid with this alone. Die! In his right eye, a hole as big as a walnut opened, and his head split. The figure was sprayed with blood, and her face twisted demonically with the joy of being able to use her full power. Who's that? Who's there? Where are you? The black suits were flustered, pointing their guns in every direction, but they didn't understand what was happening. They knew that something terrifying was coming for them from somewhere, but they didn't know where.
Dumbass! The enemy is right before your eyes! The witch's furniture is after you!
But they couldn't see. Because they didn't believe in magic, they could not see. Just as the Black Witch had said, Satan was standing boldly right in front of the black suit. However, the black suit couldn't see her at all. Did you think humans could see our forms? That they could follow us? Stupid humans! Time to pay a fool's price for forgetting your awe of magic. What is this? What's going on? You can't see it because you have no love.
Impossible! Even though there are so many humans here, even though the magic-resisting toxin is everywhere, why can you manifest your magic? Who are you?
A witch. And unlike you, a real one.
What? Damn it! You bitch!
As though announcing his candidacy for becoming the fourth victim, one of the black suits pointed his gun at Angie. And the trigger was, Angie glared at him coldly and simply ordered, Die! Next one, Satan. Satan of Wrath already right here. Blockhead! You think a simple bullet could hit Angie or us now? The stake of anger pierced and smashed the bullet fired by the black suit, and continued straight on toward the man's face. Know your foolishness and regret it in hell! Die! With terrible explosive sound, the upper half of the man's head was smashed, bathed in scattered flesh and blood, and she quietly asked one more question. Hey, Aunt Kasumi, do you still not feel like believing in magic? There's no way something so ridiculous could exist! I won't accept it! There's no way magic exists!
Yes, that's right! There's no way magic exists! There's no way witches exist! Magic exists! Witches exist! What do you...
That's right! Magic exists! Witches exist! And in this world filled with anger and sadness, it can become the key that opens the door to the world of happiness! I won't let someone like you deny that!
The key to the world of happiness lies in every person's hands! No one has any right to steal it away!
You pitiful human who cannot understand this. If there had been magic in your life, it probably would have turned out differently, becoming much more peaceful. When I think that in your entire life, you were never able to meet with a true witch, I pity you. Kasumi let out a piercing scream. At the same time, two of the black suits came for me at once, thrusting their guns at my hand, like they were trying to use me as a hostage against something their eyes couldn't see. Against the seven sisters of Purgatory, who had now reached the level of weapons, this is completely pointless. Damn, where are you? Keep attacking, and this bitch is dead! Show yourself!
What the hell's he saying? And his guts look tasty too! Angie, leave the next one to me!
Go ahead, kill him.
Thank you so much! I'm so happy! Die!
The man's chest split, and his guts poured out. This terrible way of dying threw the other man into a total panic. However, Asmodeus' form was always at his back, grasping his neck and smiling obscenely.
What a cutie! Hey, where do you want to get pierced? Angie, got any ideas?
The head.
Certainly, my master! Die!
The final black suit had his head smashed by the stake of lust, and his insides scattered, he twisted and fell, in the gruesome world where 6 people lay in a sea of blood. The witch and human confronted each other. Sumadera Kasumi, I sympathize with your sad life from the bottom of my soul. I'm willing to grant you magic that can seal up that unfillable hole in your heart, if you can believe that is. Don't be ridiculous! I'll never accept something like this! As Kasumi, who was scared out of her wits, stepped backwards, she picked up a handgun that someone had dropped. Then shaking, she pointed it at Angie.
That's right, Kasumi! Shoot with that gun! Turn your hatred into a bullet and shoot!
I'll kill you! I'll kill you! If I don't kill you, I'll never be paid back for the life I've lived!
Yes, kill! Pull the trigger! Take all the anger and pain from your shabby life until now! Use it all against her! If you don't, you won't be released from your pain and anguish!
Stop it, Aunt Kasumi. You mustn't listen to the Black Witch.
I'll kill you!
I'll kill you! Because of your mother! My entire life has been a wreck! In that case, my magic might be able to turn that life into something bright and peaceful, bit by bit starting now. If you can believe in magic and just have a change of heart, I'll be able to open the door to a new world for you.
There's no such thing! The salvation she speaks of is obviously just some fairy tale! Your life is going to be covered with thorns until you die anyway! Let her heart cry of that agony! You can't regain anything that was lost, right, Kasumi?
Let it be like that. Who cares? That's right. You might not be able to regain anything. However, I know you'll be able to create something new. So, Aunt Kasumi, throw that gun away. I might be able to teach you too about a world of happiness. You know, because your mother ran away, I was forced to marry her fiancé in her place. There was a man I swore I'd spend my life with, and I was forced to break up with him. You think you understand how I felt when I was forced to be wearing your mother's place and was held by a man I barely even talked to? I wanted to kill her, but Nasa just went and died on her own. That's why I'll kill you. Otherwise, my thorn-filled life will never end. From Kasumi's eyes, tears of passion dripped down. So pitiable. This person's tears were so clear and beautiful. But for that very reason, she hadn't been able to fully withstand her sad pain, and had been given no choice but to listen to the Black Witch's temptation. So sad. In that case, I'll at least release you, your soul for all eternity, and free you from the bonds of resentment. That might be the only bit of charity I can give right now. Die! Ushiromia Angie! Goodbye, Aunt Kasumi. Take a long rest in a quiet world. I no longer feel anger or hatred for you. I just want to let your soul rest in peace. Kasumi's handgun spat fire. Slowly, that bullet continued through a world of frozen, to the utmost limit, aiming for Angie's forehead. Mammon. Yeah! Mammon of greed right here! Thanks. Huh? Because I met you in Sakutaro, I was able to understand everything.
Angie!
Look away, Sakutaro. Mammon, release that woman and protect the honor of Mariage Sorciere. Yes! Prepare yourself, Sumadera Kasumi! Even though the world was frozen, the stake of greed flashed like lightning, and had already gotten behind Kasumi. If there's any virtue in you, we'll meet again on the mound of purgatory. Die! The upper half of Sumadera Kasumi's head was smashed. Her cage of flesh was scattered, and she was finally released. So long, D-1000! Sorry, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I was not crying. If I sounded like I was crying, it was a lie. Next is you, the Black Witch. By now, I think even the fact that you look like Aunt Ava is inexcusable to her. The victory music to Mario Party 4, please. You are the superstar! That was my first GameCube game when I was like 6. That's my music for whenever someone dies.
And my form still looks like Ushiromiya Ava. That means you still haven't been able to forgive me inside yourself. I understand, Angie. Even you want to be released from your thorn-filled life more than anything.
Hold on. I swear, if I get in, I should probably actually edit the music in for funsies. Alright.
In that case, I thought of something interesting. I'll show you magic as well. I won't be the one to kill you.
Oh, also, pay attention to other people. Pay attention who haven't seen or Umineko or whatever. Pay attention to what this Ava says. Her last words. They're very interesting. With the worst of smiles on her face, the Black Witch changed her form into something like a black mist, or else a vast swarm of black flying insects, which began to swirl around me. Then that black mist began to gather bit by bit, shaping itself into the form of a human. What's this supposed to be?
You've got at least a vague idea, don't you? It's the woman you hated and despised the most. The woman who hated and despised you the most.
When the black mist cleared, over there was Aunt Ava's form, as she had been during her life. Her hands were holding a gun. Aunt Ava died. Long time no see, Angie. I've come back from hell to kill you. Aunt Ava glared at me with a mad laugh. But I'm not that surprised. Aunt Ava was that kind of person. I imagine my funeral came as quite a relief to you, right? I feel the same since I'll never have to see your face again. But I just had one regret. And this is it. Killing me? Was that your last request? How pitiful. Even after death, my aunt wasn't released from her pain. The Black Witch's power is itself the source of my magic. Anger and hatred taught me how to work hard and persist. Completely different from this magic to escape reality that you speak of. The magic you speak of is nothing more than stress reduction through outbursts of anger. Our magic is different. It can remake the entire world. It's in a totally different class than your wicked magic. In that case, let's settle which is the victor right now, black or white. You see, my black magic miracle reviving even after death and pointing a gun at you like this. How exactly do you intend to stop Violet with the miracle of white magic? I've surrounded you with a magic-resistant toxin. You can't call the Seven Sisters anymore. That miracle just now won't occur again. Having it occur despite it all is why it's called magic. Okay, Mammon, lend me your power. But Mammon didn't respond. She didn't appear. Certainly, as she said, the magic-resistant toxin had burned up everything like a wasteland parched by the blazing sun. This might be a little tough. It's useless to call out. Never again. The Seven Sisters of Purgatory will never answer. And being able to call them, even so, is what makes magic magic, right? How pitiful. So long, Angie. The few days we spent together were fun in their own way. This is goodbye. Aren't you glad that the end of the line for you turned out to be this place? Yeah, seriously. How thoughtful of you. Thanks. Then this is farewell. The barrel of the gun rose slowly, so that they could see all the way down. Then, the trigger was slowly. At that moment, the gun exploded. It wasn't that it fired. It burst. You're kidding me! In shock, inside a frozen space, Ava looked at the ruptured gun. When time melted, the fragments would probably smash into her face all at once. Mammon agreed, right here. You're kidding me. Behind Ava's back, Mammon stood. She had already penetrated the target I had given her, which was the gun. Is this enough magic for you, Aunt Ava? Angie! Then time melted. The fragments of the burst gun and exploding gunpowder burned her face. Letting out a shrill scream, she covered her face and rolled around. It was pitiful. Your luck was bad. This is game over, Aunt Ava. I signaled to Mammon, so that Ava would be freed quickly from the pain of her burnt face as she writhed around. Thank you, Mammon. This time, I want to apologize again, from the bottom of my heart, for calling all of you powerless on that day in the classroom. You were excellent virtue for protecting witches. I'm the one that's grateful. I feel truly honored at being able to meet a good witch, and a good master in the end, and being able to fulfill my duty as furniture. Mammon had understood. This would be the final job I'd give her. Mammon quietly walked up to me, and she looked down at Ava. Aunt Ava, thanks for sticking with me for so long. This is farewell. Have a nice dream. See you in hell. Cool. Then the light sound of her forehead being bored into rang out. The battle of gunpowder, smoke, and fury of white and black magic ended. I get the feeling it was long. Truly a long journey. And the world slowly sank into darkness. Remember this scene. I'll probably explain it one of these days. The stars that should have been sparkling lay not in the sky, but were scattered beneath me. When I realized that the pearl and ruby made a red and white stream, I noticed it was a vast nighttime scene spread out below. I was in the sky of that nighttime scene, neither standing nor flying, but simply floating. From nowhere in particular, I could hear a clap, a truly dull applause. I know, it's the one who ordered me to go on a journey. Burnt Castle. Congratulations, Endless Witch Angie Beatrice. At the end of your travels, you understood everything about magic. Yes, I now understand everything about magic. I am a witch. The last witch who inherited the magical world created by Mariage Sorcier. No one besides you can tear Beatrice's world to pieces. because I know witches. I learned how to resist them. Magic is made of love and sadness and anger. No matter how cruel a witch Beatrice might have been, the source of her magic is exactly the same. And that's why I wish I could leave that world of hers alone. After all, in her eyes at least, that world is complete. But then you'd have to give up on your family. That's right. So I don't like doing it, but I have to fight. The very reason I left this journey to become a witch was so I could bet on the faint chance that I'd be able to take my family back someday. Unless you kill Beatrice, only worlds of isolation can exist for you. As one who's traveled to billions of fragments, I guarantee it. I understand. I can't afford to have compassion. I must take my heart. My bad. I understand. I can't afford to have compassion. I must make my heart a demon and tear her heart to pieces. It's good that you're unsteady in that resolve. I was worried that as another witch like her, you might grow attached and lose your will to continue. It felt a bit hollow hearing that from a person whose face was almost always expressionless. Burn Castle, the mysterious witch who invited me on this journey. At times, I suspected that you might have lied to me. Why? I'm the Angie of 1998, so even if I save my family, they'll only be saved for the Angie of 1986. They won't be saved for me. So sometimes I felt like I was being deceived. That is correct. I deceived you. But now I'm grateful. After all, in the end you did teach me how to get my family back. I didn't teach you anything. If you know something, it's because you reached that mental state by yourself as a witch. That mental state is different from my own. I personally cannot understand it, but if that's the truth, then congratulations. I'm not a player in this game, but a piece. You said that to me, right? Yes, I said it. Now I fully understand that role. A piece doesn't need emotions. It just has to give its all for victory's sake. Yes, that is correct. A game requires that you each make the best possible moves, right? If your moves get distorted by hesitation and confusion, your opponent will be confused as well. Sorry, Beatrice, but don't hate me. Ushinomiya Angie still needs her family. So I have the right to fight you, so I can take them back. And you have the responsibility to be challenged by me to a fight. So, don't hate me. In exchange, if you do win this game, I'll give you my blessing as well. Come on, let's go. As the piece I am, it's finally time for my true turn. Sorry, Beatrice. I won't hand Oni-chan over to you.